Ronald Wilson Reagan, was born in Tampico, Illinois, on February 6, 1911. It was a snowy day, and his father left the general store where he worked and made his way home through the snowdrifts. Jack Reagan ran up the stairs to his family's apartment, a one-room flat on the second floor over a bakery. When he saw his new son, he laughed. "Why, he looks like a fat little Dutchman." The nickname stuck. The baby was known as Dutch all through his childhood. Jack Reagan was a tall, handsome man who loved to tell stories and talk about politics. He was a good salesman, but every so often he would go out and get drunk. When Jack started to drink, he often ended up losing his job. Usually that meant that the family would have to start over in a new town. The Reagans moved a lot. Although this often made things hard on Dutch, when he was older, Ronald Reagan remembered how much he appreciated growing up in a small town. He said, "You get to know people as individuals. The dreams of people may differ, but everybody wants their dreams to come true, and America, above all places, gives us the freedom to do that." Dutch and his older brother, Neil, were always the new boys in school. This didn't seem to bother Neil. He would find a group of boys to hang around with. Dutch was more of a loner. He liked to hike along the banks of the Rock River, pretending to be a fur trapper of long ago. In one house the Reagans rented, Dutch found an old collection of butterflies and birds' eggs in the attic. He spent a lot of time studying them. Dutch's mother was Nell Wilson Reagan. Nell Reagan was a very cheerful person. She always said that God had a plan for her life, so there was no reason to worry or feel sad. Wherever the Reagans moved, Nell always found some needy family to help. She even visited prisoners in the jails, bringing them apples and crackers. Nell never seemed to notice that the Reagans were poor themselves. For Sunday dinner, Nell would feed the family liver, not roast beef or chicken. Instead of hamburgers, she fried up patties made of oatmeal. They tasted awful. Years went by before Dutch figured out that Nell served these meals because she didn't have enough money to buy anything better. As a little boy, he thought his mother was just a bad cook. When Dutch and Neil were little, Nell read them stories every night. She would read slowly and point to each word as she said it aloud. By the time he was 5, Dutch was able to read the newspapers on his own. Dutch read a lot of books, mainly boys' adventure stories. He read novels about Tarzan, the King of the Jungle, and novels about some characters called the Rover Boys. Dutch also liked to draw funny pictures. He thought that when he grew up, he would like to be a cartoonist. Maybe he could draw his own comic strip. Jack Reagan was an Irish-American and a Catholic, but he was not a very religious man. Dutch later joked that his dad was the kind of Catholic who gave up going to church for Lent. Neil usually followed what his dad did, so he became a Catholic too. However, Dutch decided to join his mother's church. It was called the Disciples of Christ. He was baptized when he was 11 years old. Nell was against drinking alcohol. She even wrote a play about how drunkenness caused family fights. It was performed at her church. Although Jack Reagan promised to give up drinking, he kept going back to his old ways. Even Prohibition, which made buying liquor illegal, didn't change him. One day when Dutch was 11, he came home in the evening and found his father passed out in the snow on the steps leading to the front door. Dutch woke up his dad and helped him inside. He was angry and embarrassed. What if the neighbors had seen his father drunk? When his mother came home, she sat Dutch down for a long talk. "Don't turn against your dad," she told him. "He has a sickness. He just can't help himself." Dutch tried to follow his mother's advice. Anger was just a waste of energy. He would try to think positive thoughts.